Konnichiwa, minaboku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And I'm coming to you from my kitchen, and partially because I am making melon pan, which is Japanese melon bread is basically what it is. And I got to try it when I was in Japan, and so I'm trying to emulate it if I can. But I figured I would also use this because I'm waiting for the dough to rise, because you have to make like bread dough and then you have to make cookie dough and then you mix it together, and it'll hopefully work out okay. But I'm going to now answer the questions that I had said that I would answer for you guys if you asked me in the comments below on my other video. So there is one that I won't answer just because it is one that is a little bit more personal, and I figured that I won't. I just said that I wouldn't. There are certain ones that I wouldn't. That one I'm just going to kind of keep ambiguous. So it's the typical YouTuber one, I suppose. Nowadays everybody wants to know, are you gay, straight, or bi, or whatever. I'm just going to leave that kind of out there for now, just because I can do that. So my apologies about that one. We'll just keep it out there for you. Who knows? Who knows? So anyway, but thank you for asking anyway. So okay. Freddie Gonzalez says, what do you expect for the Dream arc and Stars arc for Sailor Moon Crystal? Well, if they continue to follow, sorry about the creak by the way in my floor, if they continue to follow the way things are going in terms of how Crystal is playing out following the manga storyline, then I anticipate it to be fantastic and handled much better than the original anime did. Super S is notoriously known as the least popular of the 5 original seasons from the original anime series. Had they followed the original plot, it probably would have been more well accepted. And one of the reasons that it was so unpopular is it focused so much on Chibiusa, and Chibiusa divides a lot of people. There's a lot of people that really like her, and then there's a lot of people that really hate her, and there's not a whole lot of people right in the middle. Now this incarnation of Chibiusa is a little bit more easier to handle. I admit I was one of the people that never really did like her that much, but this one I think it's going to go over well. For whatever reason, I always thought that Super S, or the Dream arc, had kind of a Sleeping Beauty storyline aspect to it in terms of Neherenia. And I know that one of the things we're going to get to see is Luna, Artemis, and Diana as humans, because there is a chapter where that happens. It's actually one where Artemis has to save Sailor Venus because she's the last one to get her power up. Spoiler. And it's another thing I should touch on is the next musical is supposed to be based on the Dream arc, and they actually announced that Yuga Yamato is coming back as Sailor, or as Tuxedo Command. Yuga Yamato, is that her last name, Yamato? Yuga, whatever, is going to be back as Tuxedo Command, so that's good. So some continuation. I really hope that the outers are going to be the same as well. Excuse me, sorry, I got indigestion. I was at the gym earlier. So the Dream arc I think will be much more well received this time around. It's going to go into more of the lore. It's going to go more into the lore of Tuxedo Command, and Elysian and Helios and Pegasus and all that stuff. So I think it'll be well done. Sailor Stars is also, I'm so excited about that. I think I've mentioned that before. Sailor Stars is my favorite arc, whether it's the anime or the manga, but what I'm so looking forward to is what we had in the original manga that they didn't have in the original anime, which was the appearance of Sailor Heavy Metal Papillon, Sailor Leith and Nemesis, Sailor Kai and Phi. Leith and Nemesis guard the River Styx, Kai and Phi guard the Starseed Gardens. Heavy Metal Papillon is the guardian of the graveyard, I believe. And of course, there's a difference in what Chibi Chibi is. In the original anime series, Chibi Chibi is Sailor Galaxia's good side, whereas in the manga, and probably likely with Sailor Moon Crystal, unless they deviate from it, but I can't see them really doing it, is Chibi Chibi is Sailor Moon's future self, coming back from, I guess, kind of, some people argue it's from another dimension, another time, because she knows that Sailor Moon's going to go through all this really sad time, and so she's there to kind of cheer her up. another spoiler alert for you, the Senshi die, all of them, and whereas the Starlights were the ones that survived in the original anime, I anticipate that they won't. It'll be like in the manga. The only ones basically that do are Sailor Moon and Chibi Chibi, and then Sailor Chibi Moon and the Amazoness Senshi, which we're going to get to see as well, which are Vest Vest, Sere Sere, Pada Pada, and the other one, Jun Jun, Sailor Palace, Juno, Celeste, and Vesta. So that's going to be good to see with the Amazoness Jungle Arrow, and it's just so much more intricate than what we had with the original anime of Sailor Stars, and I'm so looking forward to it with the Galaxy Cauldron and Zero Star Sagittarius, and just there's so much more. It's very sad, very poignant. It does have a happy ending, as it should, but it's definitely the most different season probably between the manga and the anime originally. So that's what I anticipate from it, unless there's a lot of deviation. Sailor Moon Crystal kind of brings forth Takuchi Naoko's original premise of the show, her views, her dream of it, because the manga is hers, right? And Crystal follows that much more than the original anime did. But the original series had a great story in and of itself, and I think it'll be time-honored and cherished just as much of everything else. So I'm going to continue on, because there's a lot of Sailor Moon-related questions, which I really like, so thank you. And thank you, Freddie, for asking that. Jeremy Wallace, shout out to Jeremy, another Jeremy. Do you think there should be filler episodes in Sailor Moon Crystal? That's a hard one. I think that filler... It depends on your definition of filler. I think I'd like to see the side stories told as kind of a filler, and filler to some people means that it doesn't follow the actual plot of what's supposed to be going on within the season. But I would like to see the Casablanca memory story, Rei and Minako's girl school battle. We kind of already got Ami's first love in a kind of sort of special with Super S originally, but it would be nice to see that redone. And of course the Princess Kaguya story, which was the S movie originally, but I'd like to see a Sailor Moon Crystal handling of it as well. And I'd like to see Megumi Hayashibara back as Himeko. That's just personal opinion. So, thank you. Other than Sailor Moon, is there any other anime series you enjoy? And that was Midnight Jade that asked me that. Yes, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Gravitation, Slayers. Slayers is wonderful. Get Backers, which I've only seen parts of, but I like it. Free Iwatobi Swim Club I think looks interesting. Hamatora is one I want to watch. Pokemon, I used to be a big Pokemon fan. Aside from the original 150, I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I'm so far behind. I just beat the first gym in Pokemon Y, so I don't really have a lot of time to do too much with that, though. Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball are my absolute favorites. Samurai Pizza Cats, definitely a good classic. Ahead of its time, but behind its time in so many ways. Oz no Mahotsukai, which is also the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which was the first anime series I ever saw. I used to watch Tales from the Green Forest. That was when I was a kid. I mean, there's so many, and there's many that you don't even realize that were anime at the time, but actually ended up being so. So I'm more of an old school anime fan. Cardcaptor Sakura to some degree. Tenku no Escaflowne, that's really the only mecha series I ever really liked. I watched a little bit of Gurren Lagann, which I kind of like as well, but never really got too much into it to really... And Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories? Ghost Hunt, that's the one. Looks interesting as well. So that kind of stuff. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for asking. Chloe McConnell asks, when did you get into Sailor Moon? Well, back in the 90s. Pretty much when it first came out on YTV here in Canada. 1994, 95, somewhere around there. And I want to say 95 because that's where everything's copyrighted, 95, and North American related posters that I have and stuff. And of course I've got the Sailor Moon doll collection from Irwin Toy. I got them from Walmart just before Irwin Toy went out of business, so I'm not even sure if those are worth that much. They might be, just for that simple fact. I have a lot of Sailor Moon stuff, but I've been a big fan for years, pretty much the entire length of time that it's been around. As for the musicals, I got into them just around my grade 12 year of high school, which was 2001. So Kanbei Miyuki was the Sailor Moon at the time, but Ann's has always been my favorite for those. And of course I got the box sets of those when I was in Japan. I was really lucky about that. And you guys will see my Japan trip haul stuff probably in the next couple days. I hate saying but yeah, anyway. Yeah, so that basically answers the question. I used to go around Calgary all the time where I used to live and beg my mom to buy me Sailor Moon cards from Chinatown, which at the time was really the only place you could get them in Calgary. And then there was a little store in Westbrook Mall, an old haunt of mine. I forget what it was called, but they had them there. I think it was just called, I can't remember. I don't think it's there anymore. It was a nice little Asian shop, and they had a lot of cards there, and I got my first Sailor Moon t-shirt there, actually right around the time my grandmother passed away. It was a wedding picture, and I now have a wall scroll of the same picture, so I'm really happy with that, because the t-shirt, I wore it so much it faded over time, and that's the sad reality of t-shirts. But that's when I got into it, and never really has gone away, so true obsession. All right, Jessica Ledger. Now, Jessica, I know we interact a lot on Facebook and stuff like that, and I hope I pronounced your last name right. I'm so sorry if I didn't. And yes, actually, she's one of the ones that asked me to do a question and answer thing, so thank you again for that suggestion. How many animals and pets have you owned in your life, and what were they? Can you name them all? Well, my very first... Okay, I'm going to try to remember all the names, because I had a lot of fish that I don't remember the names of. Excuse me. Excuse me. I felt that sneeze coming. Ebony was my first dog. She was a black, kind of Heinz 57, everything. We grew up together. She was a puppy when I was a baby, and I remember coming home from school one day, and I was 13, and my mom had taken her in to get her put down, and I was really upset for a while. I mean, I understand why it happened. I mean, she wasn't well, and it was kind of an in-the-moment thing. But I was really upset about that at the time, because I didn't really get a chance to say goodbye to her. I mean, she had lost her ability to control her bowels and all that stuff. And I mean, that's not really fair to let an animal go on like that in that sort of a situation. So Ebony was definitely my first dog. Sierra was my second. She was a Samoyed Malamute wolf. Total bitch. Loved her. She had a lot of sass. She was pure white, and when we had the go-kart track, she moved from Calgary to the go-karts with us in Kamloops here, and she used to dig in the dirt, and we had a little kiddie pool, and she would sit there and pull out the kiddie pool and dump water everywhere, and then dig a trench with it and become an Oreo cookie. So she'd stand in the middle of the field in the middle of the go-kart track area, and she would be the entertainment for the people that were there while their kids were on the go-karts, because she would be barking at the water. She would bark at toilet water, and she'd dig in that too. Then she had 10 puppies New Year's Day 1997, and Sox and Dakota were the two boys that we kept. We had names for the other 8 as well, but there's like Kissy Face, and there were so many, Spike, lots of dogs. And then we got our first cat, which was Gizmo. I don't know if I have a picture of Gizmo. I think I do. I do. So this is Gizmo, and he's got one of those little scrubby things from the sink on his head. He ran away, it was a while ago now, and I think that he passed away, but I like to think that maybe he found a nice little old lady to take care of him, and that, you know. And then of course there was Sir Kitty Amazing Minnie Mouse, the city of Nebopolis on the planet Nibiru, which Caden has now at his place. But we share custody of the cat. And we call him Maze, of course. And then we've got... these two, Bailey, which we've had for a long time, and Fong, whom you guys have met before. They're so happy with me right now. And you heard Fong the other day if you watched my Sailor Moon review. We had Bonkers, who was a ferret. Dante, of course, he's still around. He had lost his fur, but now he's back to being full furry again. We used to have 10 rats. I have gone through so many betta fish. My current one's name is Nebula. And Caden, when he lived here, had like 3 fish tanks with like 45 fish, and it was nuts. The rats, Maury and Zim, and were the first two that we had. Maury was a girl. She ended up having babies. There was 10 babies or 12 babies. Oh, so many animals. And then my brother, Daniel. So lots of animals, lots of pets. So our house has been a veritable zoo of sorts. Anyway, this video is very long. That's all the questions that I see here for now. So thank you guys again. Maybe I'll do another one of these sometime if you're up for it. Like this video if you'd like to see more of those. And I really appreciate you guys watching and your interested stuff in me and things like that. So this month I'm going to try to do a bunch of videos, at least one every day. Don't know what they're going to be all about yet, but this one is done for June 1st. So, je m'attendais. I'm having a party tomorrow, or later today, the 1st, so maybe we'll do some Does This Thing Taste Like Shit, because I still have Sakura Pepsi, and I'd love my friends to try it and get their reactions. We'll see. And maybe the melon bread, too. Okay. Bye-bye, and thank you again.